First time I fell in love with Enjin was back in 2018 when I minted my first NFT, and I was like, wow, this is super cool. And then reading into everything that could be done with the Unity SDK that you guys had released at that point of time, it was very, very exciting. So Caleb, Witek, great to have you on the show. How are you all doing today?
Doing good.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Let's start with a bang. What is this metaverse, and why is everybody having a different definition regarding the metaverse? So I want to know from you guys, what do you think this metaverse is going to shape up into the future, and what it is looking like now? What is Enjin doing in this ecosystem? What is Facebook trying to do in this ecosystem? How can brands be involved? But let's start with, what is this metaverse? Like, just that fact.
Sure. So you and I got into a little bit of a back and forth about this the other day. So I'm going to tell you what I think the metaverse is. So as I described it the other day, I think it's a virtual digital universe that parallels and I think seamlessly synthesizes with our physical world. What do I mean by that? So this means that anything physical has a digital copy that you can interact with, you can own. This is what we're seeing with NFTs, everything from shared experiences. We talked about games, places, digital ownership of items. And I'm talking about, think way beyond art and collectibles, right? So all that said, even for myself, this is an evolving concept, right? This is big. This is very, very big. And it fascinates me. And being part of the thought leadership team at Enjin, like, we get to be on the forefront of creating this magical, I think it's magical and limitless future of possibilities.
Where does it head, Witek? Witek, do you agree with this sort of?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the metaverse, but I also think that the metaverse also involves the internet and, you know, all digital spaces. So, you know, when we want to create a world where you can have your collectibles, you can have your items, your digital property, take that through time with you, move that into different worlds. For example, if you're playing a game, you have a character, maybe new games come out, you can take that character to different games, maybe go even further and have, you know, websites and games and apps that support your character, your items, and connecting all those blockchains out there together, because these things are people's, you know, identities and people's actual property, people's time and you know, passion goes into these games and apps, and basically it's a life people are living online now. So this is going to be quite interesting in the future.
That's interesting. So that gives a bit of an overview of what the metaverse is, but I want to know a bit more in detail. I want to envision this thing. I want to understand in practicality, how would one be able to interact with this metaverse, and where does it start, and how can people get involved with it now?
Well, we tried to build the first version of the metaverse with Enjin. So we actually talked to the game developers that were building on Enjin. They're called our early adopters. And we encouraged them to use items across multiple games. So you can actually take some of these items in between the games that exist on Enjin right now.
Well, I think Vitek's right. I mean, we started pioneering this back in 2017 with game developers. What we had envisioned was early on, like, games that had integrated blockchain into their ecosystem, and they had in-game tokenized assets. So this is what we've been known for. We built the full infrastructure. We've worked with games like Lost Relics, Nine Lives Arena, Age of Rust, Space Misfits. I think we have over 40 games. And what we did simply is this: we made it possible for game developers to tokenize in-game assets without having to build all the code around it. This is now freely tradable, and these assets are owned by the gamer and then easily transferable between games. It's that simple.
Got it. Got it. So before we delve a little more deeply into the blockchain gaming side, right? Without getting into the gaming side, there is this whole realm of brands and influencers and people getting into the NFT space. How do you think this would start? And I want to kind of get the future perspective from you guys in this question. Like, where does this start with these brands and people coming in? What happens with their NFTs that they're doing? Like, you have these NBA top shots happening, and you have some of the top guys in the space coming up with their NFTs with various different companies, right? And where does this fall into the realm of the metaverse?
Yeah. So what we're seeing right now, though, I like to call it the Kleenex fire, right? Everywhere around us, we're seeing these marketplaces pop up, and they're trading or selling, and then in the secondary market trying to resell art and mostly collectibles, sports collectibles. You have influencers jumping in, but what we're seeing is a focus on the transactional side of things, Sash. And at Enjin, what we're trying to do is watch and learn and gather data and talk with game developers, talk with influencers, talk with big brands that we're working with. And we hear over and over the same thing. It's not necessarily about the core focus being the monetary, right? They want to create these meaningful, deep experiences that scale, that go way beyond. And this connects into the metaverse. This is exactly what you're describing. And I think, we're working with one of the biggest lifestyle brands in the world. We've started having conversations with them, and they're exploring this. And it keeps coming back to, okay, we have physical products. We're one of the largest in the world, recognizable everywhere. How do we connect non-fungible tokens and this concept of digital asset ownership with our physical products, but then create almost like your digital version of it, wearing the same things, like you can destroy it and redeem it. You can trade it, sell it. Like, all of a sudden you open all sorts of new avenues for engagement, for monetization, but monetization isn't the key thing. It's the experience. And this is very, very top of the funnel when we're talking about the metaverse. The metaverse is this gigantic, it's the synthesization of the physical world and this digital world, building out this Ready Player One universe. It's so much more than AR and AI.
Wow, you can say that again. That was interesting. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And I think from a practical perspective, where it does boil down to is that ownership and transferability of these good digital items and that layer over the internet is very, very interesting, and it opens realms to a lot of possibilities as well. I mean, for a brand, for any influencer or a celebrity who's sold NFTs, right? Now these NFTs could act, as a membership card into their circle. And then if you own these NFTs, in places you could receive a discount, like airline miles that you use. But here, only a limited few people can own the item, and because it cannot be copied, replicated, etc., these things can be used to confirm the authenticity of it. And I think that is just like a really small way of thinking what you guys are talking about, as well as an example. Would you agree, like things like these would be possible?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're already seeing that. And it is small. Exactly what you just said. It is small. What we're envisioning, what we're building with our wallet, and the new version coming out in a few months with NFT.io, it's not just about selling an NFT. It's about creating this spotlight experience with these influencers and artists that we're working with, that in fact, there's one very well-known rap artist that we're working with at the moment. And his entire team, they're new to this. Here's what they don't want, just to make a quick buck, right? They want to find new ways to connect with their fans and create personal experiences with this artist that they can renew year after year after year, right? It doesn't just end after one meet and greet or one concert where, you know, this artist throws up we have a tool called Beam, right? And we're building this out with Microsoft at the moment. This is huge. This is game changing. You get a QR code where we can drop tens of thousands and much more coming soon, NFTs in one scan. So if I'm at a concert and this artist throws up and it's just for the people at that concert, this QR code, I can get an NFT just like that. And even though it's free, I now have something of value that can be traded on the secondary market.
Yeah, and it's rare as well, and it's limited to that time as well. And I see, I see the value in it. Yeah. So Witek, now coming to the blockchain gaming side of things, right? Like you were one of the earliest pioneers to envision this and actually put this into reality as well. But since you envisioned it in 2017, to things the way they are now, with many new concepts coming up, with, you know, universes like Decentraland and the Sandbox, and then you have the play to earn features, etc. What do you think are going to be the more interesting trends going further, and which one of these do you think will survive for a while? What are your thoughts on the play to earn games such as Axie Infinity, and what are the other interesting ones that we should be looking at?
Well, yeah, it's quite interesting to see these games exploding. I mean, Axie is you know, huge. It's growing massively. You know, there's a lot of games that have these sort of mechanics, and they're you know, they bring a certain audience, people who want to play to earn. But we've always thought that, you know, there's just billions of people that play games for entertainment, for other reasons, right? And so we want to use these tools as a creative way for game developers to have a new tool set. You know, now you can bring an economy into your game. Now you can actually enforce things. You can give people that sense of true ownership in their game. And you know, we've been speaking to game developers, and actually people want to be able to build marketplaces for these games that run on blockchain. That's one of the things that we're seeing. Something that's tailored to their game, something that handles their game economy. So I think that we'll be seeing a lot more creativity in kind of real games, you know, 3D games, potentially console games into the future.
And I'm aware of the fact that you guys have been speaking with a lot of AAA gaming studios as well, but it's a hard convert, or is it just the technology isn't ready? Which one are we at right now? Because I think over the last 1 year, NFTs have become more popular than most cryptocurrencies have. The trend is very hot. Hot trends usually work to get big companies onboarded, but we haven't seen a single AAA game even talk about. Like, I didn't even hear a rumor about it. So what is lacking, and when will we actually see this?
Yeah, they're definitely talking about it.
Yeah, game dev cycles are very long, right? And you know, people that have been building games, AAA games, they have, you know, tens of millions of dollars behind some of these games. And you know, just simply inserting NFTs into a game that's already been in development is a major risk. But we are speaking with large game publishers and game developers, and they see a huge potential in linking some of their game franchises and sort of games that have series to them with items that can move across these games. You know, we think that this is going to happen very soon, like in the next year, probably next 1 or 2 years, we're going to see multiple AAA games bringing NFTs and blockchain into their games in certain ways.
It depends. I'm going to push on that a little bit. I absolutely think we will get there, but only if NFTs are done precisely right. And what I mean by that is this: it cannot be just focused on the transaction in the marketplace. It has to be more than that. You know, yeah, they're looking at new economies, but they have great economies to begin with. Why would they flip that switch? It has to be something that is so compelling that pushes into what you said, Sash. What's this metaverse? What are people talking about here? Is it even possible? Have we even scratched the surface?
Well, people love when game developers have always tried to push technology. When anything new comes out, they jump on it and they try to use it in creative ways. So I mean, we saw that with Pokemon Go. People were walking around, staring at their cell phone screens and collecting Pokemon all around the world, and that was augmented reality. So there's another level you can bring to this with blockchain and true ownership. I mean, I've been a gamer my whole life, and I've spent thousands and thousands of hours in games, and I really wish that a lot of those games that I played in the past had my character and items and things that I could revisit in the future, potentially reuse in future versions of that game. But that's not been possible. All those things have sort of died, and what I want to see is a new form of gaming where these things live on, because you put so much you make so many friends in these games and put so much energy into them, and yeah, it's a really new creative space.
Here's the good news, Sash. Again, we've built the infrastructure. So the conversation or conversations, I should say, that we're having with AAA titles is a natural progression. We've laid the foundation. Right. So it's a perfect
tell me how does it work, Caleb? Like, you're the one who's pushing all the business side with Enjin right now. So how do you tell me, how does this work for you? Like, how do you approach these games and people, etc., or are they reaching out to you? And when they do that, how do you guide them through this journey? And I want to hear it from a perspective from the audience, being new upcoming independent gamers as well, or people who want to launch games, want to understand how they can do and start their entrepreneurial journeys with Enjin as well. But tell me, with the big brands, as to how they are thinking and what the common entrepreneur should be thinking as well.
Yeah, well, look, Witek and Lucas, our co-CTO, and the dev team have made it easy, right? They're building products that should be talked about. We've already built a whole suite of tools and ecosystem the game developers are actually using. We're building this out. We're solving problems with scalability, with interoperability, with governance, security, speed.
What is your so all that is under the hood, right? But I want to know from the business perspective, like when you're talking to these guys, right? They're looking at using this technology to enhance their customer experiences. They're using the technology to make their games better. They're using this technology to increase number of users, number of transactions, revenues, etc. Right? But all that combined, right? How are they envisioning using this for actual practical purposes, right? Like, how are you solving their problems? Like, when you talk to them, what is the usual pitch that is going to be the biggest game changer for them?
Well, that's what I was getting at, is because we're solving these issues that are real-time issues for real users, like the interoperability issue, the speed issue, the congestion issues, and because we built the infrastructure and have gamers already on there, right? We've qualified ourselves to now enter into a room to have a conversation. So not only did we help, and this gets lost, we helped kickstart the whole NFT revolution. We were right there along CryptoPunks. This is way back. This is 2017. We envisioned, and Witek, you were really the genius behind this. This is 2017, way before NBA Top Shots. NBA Top Shots thrust it all into the spotlight, but we're now with a seat at the table because we've proven that we build real products. So what are the conversations that we're having? Okay. We see the success of the space. We see the explosion of NFTs on the scene. We don't want to build something that's here today and gone tomorrow. That's just kind of a quick flash in the pan. I call it a Kleenex fire. We looked at what you've built at Enjin, where you're going now with Efinity. We've read the white paper or seen press releases about what you're building, and you're building it on Polkadot. Tell us more. this actually looks like it can scale. And most of these people, they're not blockchain usability technical geniuses, but they understand business, and they understand that it can't be a flash in the pan investment, right? There has to be long-term strategy here. That's what Enjin brings to the table. We don't think just short-term bursts. We think long-term sustainability, forward-thinking innovation.
Yeah. And that's fair. I feel that this is the right approach these brands should be taking any which ways. Like, open-minded entry into the space is the only way to find solutions to the problems that you might be having with the business side of things, or enhancing experiences for users, or using the blockchain efficiently for whatever purpose that people need it for. Witek, like Enjin, and I've spoken to Max a bunch of times about this, and initially it was like Ethereum's gonna be it, and Ethereum's the lifeblood of Enjin, and there was so much loyalty with Ethereum that it was almost like ETH maximalism in a way, right? And I'm talking 2017, 2018, 2019 as well. And then you guys realize that business cannot run the way it is. Nobody's going to pay $50,000 to transfer 50,000 NFTs. And the network doesn't work for small independent gamers, the guys that you wanted to support and grow as well. And I know for a fact that you have tested out a lot of other blockchains as well. You've tested out many solutions, layer 2 solutions, layer 1 solutions, etc. And you finally settled on Polkadot. I want to know a bit about your journey. What other chains you tried? Give me some examples of what you felt was missing, right? What do you felt was something that could have been improved, or something you felt was missing for you from the Cosmos side, or Polygon side, or BSC side, or Solana side? And why would you settle at Polkadot?
Sure. So obviously, Ethereum, we're going to continue supporting Ethereum, and we believe in Ethereum. It's going to survive for hundreds of years. But it's now sort of people competing to launch different kinds of smart contracts, DeFi, all this kind of stuff. And it's not really meant for the kind of transactions we need in gaming and in these NFT use cases. We looked at a lot of networks, but we actually spent a year and a half building our own layer 2 solution. We had PhDs working on it. We had a whole team that we worked with that was building a very interesting layer 2 solution. But I had a chat with a lot of our game developers building on the platform, and we realized, firstly, that you don't need just pure scalability. Everyone came to me and said they needed all the features that Enjin had and more. There were things they wanted to do that they couldn't. And so we looked at a bunch of options. We looked at a bunch of chains. Some of them you're kind of, cloning what Ethereum's doing and making it faster. Some are side chains. Then there's some other chains you mentioned. But the really cool thing about Polkadot is that when you have a parachain slot, you are now able to create your own economy. So Polkadot has a relay chain, and then it's sort of the concept is that you have a network of parachains, and those parachains can talk to each other. The security is handled by the central relay chain, but by renting that slot, which you win in an auction, you actually can create a brand new system of transaction fees that's suited to your concept. So we wanted to create a system, an economic system that lets the blockchain grow, that basically lets you do transactions and move NFTs around and do gaming use cases, and do even things like discovering what an NFT is worth, developing tools for that blockchain, and then being rewarded instead of just miners being rewarded as on Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I'm not too technically sound to really understand why this cannot be done on another chain, but I'm assuming that there are ease of use and practical and security, as well as scalability reasons that this happened.
Oh yeah, I can talk all about these things. I mean, just starting with the way that smart contracts are on Ethereum. If you want to create NFTs on Ethereum, you have to launch a smart contract. That smart contract follows a token standard like ERC20, ERC1155, ERC721. But since anyone can deploy anything on Ethereum, every smart contract, every token has to be super paranoid, and that makes it really inefficient. So you have high fees, inflexibility, and it just makes it difficult to work with. So on Polkadot, we can make these tokens native. And so with Efinity, we're building a token standard called pair tokens. These tokens are native. We know we can predict how they'll function. They're not just some random code that somebody cooked up and put out as a smart contract and have a huge bug and lose you $100 million or 600 million, which just happened this week on Poly Network. So we can create predictable functionality on the Efinity network and with Polkadot, and so that's a huge thing. I mean, there's so many features of Polkadot that make it just amazing for the NFT use case. I mean, we are building such optimizations as being able to mint millions of NFTs in a single block for like nothing, almost nothing. And being able to transfer NFTs to so many like in massive quantities, you can really optimize the storage and deal with that.
To be fair, though, to answer Salish's question, we did look at other blockchains. We looked at Cosmos, we looked at Near, Flow. I mean, why did we ultimately dig in with what Dr. Gavin Wood was building with Polkadot? I mean, it was really clear to us when we started looking under the hood.
Yeah, well, look, it's everything, every aspect of what Polkadot and Kusama are doing is done very intelligently. So firstly, the development language they're using, the format is going to be very open. So it's Rust. Rust is an amazing language. Developers, every developer I speak to just wants to use Rust. It's a little harder than Solidity for sure, but you can go a lot deeper. You can handle a lot more. You can deal with storage. You can deal with core blockchain code when you're building a palette. Ink smart contracts are very powerful as well. People are building whole EVM, like they're building Ethereum virtual machines on Polkadot, so you can just run your smart contracts on there. That's how powerful it is. So
awesome.
With this power, with these native tokens, you can create an interoperable ecosystem. You can bring tokens in from Ethereum, from Bitcoin, from any network that exists, and have developers. There's hundreds of thousands of developers that can then build on Polkadot, and we see that as being a super powerful network that will grow in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of EVMs, though, you guys recently launched the Jumpnet blockchain as well, and this is like a stopgap measure to kind of have something that people can start use and experience what Enjin has built before they go on to Efinity, or would this be working parallel to Efinity once it launches as well? And how much resource have you been able to dedicate to the two different projects as well?
So initially, Jumpnet started as a quick way to just distribute some items for promotions, but then people started asking, we want to use this for more. We want to actually run our whole games on it. So we are in a lot of discussions internally right now, working out how to do this and still keep Jumpnet free. So it's difficult with a blockchain. You have to limit the amount of transactions. You don't want to allow spam, but we think we have a way to do that, and we can utilize EFI in Jumpnet and allow people to run smart contracts and run their whole games on there. So we're working on that right now, and as things progress, we'll see Jumpnet as a way to do very cheap EVM smart contracts and use that sort of original Enjin tool set that we have, and then we have Ethereum as the full super powerful ultra decentralized network where a lot of activity is going to be happening, of course. And then Efinity is going to be where you really want to build your next gen apps and move your tokens over if you want to support cooler, newer features in your games and apps.
Witek, what's EFI?
Okay, so
you mentioned EFI.
yeah, EFI is it's our new token. So it powers the Efinity network. So we ran a private sale and a public sale, which was massively successful. As one of the most subscribed public sales that we've heard of, and basically sold out within a few hours, I believe. So we basically are using EFI to fuel the Efinity ecosystem. It's for one, it's a way to bring people in from the Enjin community. There's going to be rewards for all kinds of people that are benefiting the Efinity ecosystem, and there's a lot happening inside Efinity that we're going to use EFI for. So, for example, figuring out what tokens are worth in the real world. This is something that no one's really been able to figure out. Sure, you can put something up for sale or have an auction and sort of, someone will pay some huge amount for a token, but we don't think that's the best way to do this. We think that we have a new way to discover the value of items in Efinity and on all blockchain networks.
Yeah, I mean, the Oracle ecosystem with conjunction with the AMMs the way they are right now have been able to do a fantastic job of not just adding liquidity, but evaluating the price of tokens as well. And if something similar can be done with NFTs, that would be pretty awesome. And I think it's necessary to have that going as well. But Caleb, I wanted to ask you, right? When you're talking to the top tier brands as well as games, are you talking Jumpnet as well right now? Like, do you talk about the fact that, we have this solution now that you can use, and then we're building Efinity, or you just talk about Efinity?
No, absolutely. We want to emphasize Jumpnet. It's solving problems. I mean, it's something that's live right now. Our early adopters are using it. Yeah, Efinity is what's coming. It's built on Polkadot. Jumpnet's live now on Ethereum. Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the conversation.
Now, with EFI coming out and this becoming like this new hot thing with Polkadot, everything, where does ENJ stand? And what is the relationship between the two tokens and coins?
Yeah, so we created EFI because Efinity is a new network and it needs a special economic system. We don't want it to be limited by Ethereum miners and the fees there. We also needed to have a supply that lasts for the next decade or more that can incentivize the growth of Efinity. So we have various rewards going to people who do things on Efinity, whether that's discovering the price of things, doing development, doing governance, like running collator nodes. There's a lot happening on Efinity, and we need to make that token support it. ENJ though is completely part of Efinity as well. We're using ENJ. I mean, its original utility was to infuse ENJ into tokens, into NFTs and fungibles and game items. But we're adding this really interesting functionality where you can, as part of the Enjin community, if you own ENJ, you're going to be nominating the collator nodes, the people who run the Efinity network, because ENJ is super distributed. It's spread out. There's a lot of people who own it, and this is a perfect way to bring that community into Efinity. And the way we're going to do this,
it's a brilliant model. Yeah, we've thought long and hard about. Yeah, keep going.
The way we're going to do this is that original infusion into items that was started 4 years ago. A lot of people already own items that hold Enjin coin. So when you have an item that holds Enjin coin, it's going to start generating EFI for you. It's automatically staked. So staking is basically minting an item using the Enjin platform. And those items can stay on Ethereum. They can be moved to Efinity. And those people will then be, through staking into items, they'll be nominating the people who run the Efinity network and earning EFI.
Got it. I'm just a bit confused about why would a token need staking, because it doesn't need to run a network. So why would staking of Enjin be a thing? But I think there are enough examples of, no more distinction between having a proof of stake mechanism for a token to be able to yield interest on other things. And I think yield farming was a prime example of how these things started.
Yeah, I mean, someone has to run the collator nodes, and somebody has to choose what collator nodes are having great uptime,
Right.
fast, efficient, giving good rewards back to the community. So that's why we needed this system.
Got it. Thank you guys for coming on the show today. I really enjoyed speaking with you. With all the technical difficulties and everything, we managed to record this just about nice. I think this will be very interesting when it comes out for people to understand what is Metaverse, how is it affecting all the brands, how blockchain gaming is evolving, how Polkadot is evolving. The Efinity and the Enjin ecosystem is looking very exciting as well. Any last words for the community?
Well, look, we appreciate the support. EFI launch was a tremendous success. And yeah, we're just, firing on all cylinders and grinding away. We've got an amazing, actually, one thing I will say, we've tripled in size as a company this year and continue to grow like crazy. We believe it starts with our people first. Having a tremendous team means that we're going to have even more tremendous products. And what we have coming down this fall with our new wallet with an NFT focus, we've got NFT.io dropping mid-September with the most incredible historical commemorative NFT campaign. I can't say what it is just yet, but it is the most epic NFT. Like, it's going to get global attention. We're
What is
so
it?
pumped.
Jay-Z and Beyonce's wedding photographs. Is that it?
So wallet, NFT.io, Efinity, we're pouring into Jumpnet. We have so much momentum right now, and a huge thanks to our community for hanging in there with us. I mean, we're grinding.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for doing this. I mean, our team is really changing the way we think right now. We're trying to be more open. I think the next generation of Enjin and Efinity is going to be openness, interconnectedness with the community, with the developers. We're going to be doing a lot more communication with our community, and we appreciate everybody who stuck with us. So we're really looking forward to a great year.
Awesome. Really appreciate your time, guys. I had a wonderful time today, and I hope you enjoyed yourself as well.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks.
Cheers.
This is Altcoin Buzz Spotlight with Shash.
If I was an investor and I wanted to decide between ENJ and EFI, which one should I be buying more right now?
We can't give you that advice, Sash.
So I've heard a rumor that secretly the entire Enjin and Efinity ecosystem is owned by Justin, son of Tron. Is this true?
You found us out.